Hello and welcome back to another episode of The Real Franchise, a video series designed to deliver real information, real answers and real insights into franchising. The series is brought to you by Jones Home Services Australia. I'm the CEO and Justin is one of our owners and our head of new businesses. As you know, together we tackle all of the big topics in this series, unscripted, unplanned and unfiltered, no sales, no fluff. We just give you information straight up. We have been on a brief break. It's been about 4 weeks since we've posted a video, but I can say in that 4 weeks, we have been flat out. We have started about 7 new business owners in that time, and we've consolidated results for the 20 odd that we've already started this financial year. And so today we are recording 2 videos, and the first of those is actually a video about a really important question that you should be asking yourself if you're at a bit of a fork in the road of life. Justin, I'm going to throw straight to you. What is this question? Where did it come from for you? Lead the conversation off today.
Now, the question I'd love to talk about today is this simple one. What if the path you were on disappears? What if the path you were on disappears? And it came about, I was in the gym this morning listening to a great podcast by Mel Robbins. If you want to listen to the podcast, it's titled 3 Questions to Ask Yourself to Figure Out What You Really Want. And it's all based around research that Stanford Uni has done. They run a course on this and they've put together what's called the Odyssey plan. So if you're listening and you want to really dig deeper, go find that information. It's great. But what really jumped out at me is the question, because I talk to people every day, and what I do, I handle most of the inquiries that come through to us, people looking, investigating, looking at maybe starting their own business. And this question really resonated because the question, what if the path you're on disappears? People I speak to every day, either the path they were on has disappeared, they were made redundant, their company's closed down, they lost their job, those sort of things, or they want to change the path they're on. All right. So it's everyone that inquires to us basically falls into one of those 2 categories, I find. And if you're listening, you may be in one of those 2 categories where you're not happy with the path you're on. And so it just got my brain thinking, that how do we fit into that picture? How, this podcast is all about providing information and sorry, I know I'm talking a lot. I should be asking a few more questions, Rhiannon, but just to explain where my head's at this morning is we're in control. It's our life, and the way to change that is to get information. And when you look at, and this is where my head was been thinking, when you look at what is it that stops us from making a change, from getting out of the rut, or the path has ended. The thing that stops us usually is fear. I've got to stay in this job because I need to pay the rent, or I got the mortgage, or, whatever. And we get stuck in this rut and it's fear. And for me, the only way to answer fear is with information, and so I want to encourage people that are listening, go out, seek information. There's no cost in seeking information. That's why we do this video. It's all about putting information out for people. And so I thought this morning it'd be good to look at how are the risks? Why would you join James? Is it really a valid, our subscription model and what we've put together over years, is it really something I could do? I want to have my own business, but I need the job for that security. Is that a valid train of thought, just to stay in the rut because, oh no, I just can't do it? So, I thought we could dive deeper into that today, having maybe a look at talking directly to that fear.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's a really good topic for discussion. And I'd like to go back for a little minute to that original question. What if the path you're on disappears? I think that, every now and then when you take time off, I step in and make those calls to the people that have inquired. And what I see coming through when I'm doing that role is that the path they're on has disappeared. We have a lot of people inquire from FIFO workers whose contractors run out, construction workers whose contractors run out, change of circumstances and the path that they're on, the role they had is no longer, they've been made redundant, their family circumstances have changed, so the path that they were on could not continue. So either it disappears, or the other main thing that I see is that people are on a certain path, but they're at the point where they're looking down that path and they're going, this isn't serving me. This isn't really getting me where I want to go. The path is not taking me to somewhere that I would feel fulfilled and satisfied with in my life. And I think a huge catalyst for somebody making an inquiry with us is one of those two scenarios. Either the path has disappeared, or the path is still there, but it no longer serves the purpose.
Yeah.
And so they make an inquiry. They start doing their research, and so many times the backstory is, their mum or their dad's been in business, or their brother or their sister owns their own business, or their hubby owns the business, and they've been around it. They've been thinking about it for a while. They don't really know if it stacks up. They're not really sure if it's something they should do. They're not sure if it would fit with their lifestyle goals. And so they make the inquiry, but there's a lot of uncertainty, which is normal, because I don't know, I feel like a lot of people inquire and then expect that after one call they'll have enough information to make a decision. Do you feel like that? I feel like that so often. I feel like someone makes an inquiry and they're like, we get chatting, and then all of a sudden it's like walls go up and they're like, oh, well, okay, I'll let you know if I make a decision, I want to go ahead. And it's like, wait. No, like, let's just totally take the pressure off. This call is not about making a decision, not even close. You don't even have, you need this much information and I've just given you this much, Is that the feeling that you get as well? And what do you think that is? Do you think that's speaking directly to fear that you mentioned before is the reason why often we don't do the things that might get us on the right path?
Totally. And that happens almost every day, where you'll have a brief 30-second discussion and people go, oh, great, okay, well, thanks for that. I'll think about it and make a decision. And you're like, you've got nothing to think about. I haven't given you any information. And I think, our response is fear. We're saying that because, whoa, this is a big change. And yet I want to encourage people listening, whatever situation you're in, don't let that hold you back. Work out what you want to do and just start looking for information on that, And I think for so many of us Aussies, we want to have, that's the dream. We want to have our own home, our own business. We want to be the boss. And if you do your homework, and this is what I'd love to dive into, we have developed over years a fantastic system that helps people get there. And I was just thinking as well this morning, like how proud I am of our business owners that have joined us, because they've done their research, they've bit the bullet, they've made the change. And I've spent a lot of time this week just ringing our new starters to see how they're going. And the common thing, every single one of them has said to me in one form or another is, Justin, I don't know why I didn't do this years ago.
Yeah.
And you're like, and then when I heard that podcast this morning, it was just like, wow, all the pieces sort of came together, and that's where this has come from. That I think we miss out, we hold ourselves back in life where, yes, you don't want to be crazy. Well, you want to get information and make a wise decision. So I'm not saying to people that are listening, just jump blindly and do what you want to do. Do it wisely. And I think, like when I did my research 15 years ago into James, and I was in a really good job, I came from a good job, good career, and I was like, these businesses, like, really, this is be like scraping the bottom of the barrel. You couldn't really earn much money. These people must have been desperate. And that's basically what I said to the owner of the company back then, the guy that started James. And he said to me, wow, that's pretty arrogant, Justin. He said, that person with the lawn business that you just spoke to, they bring in no less than $7,500 a week. And that just blew my mind, because I'm thinking I'm this big regional manager on this big wicket. And yet someone who was totally in control of their own hours is earning more than I was earning.
Yeah, I mean, my favourite stat in the network, our average hourly rates, and our cleaning business owners are making, $92 an hour, and our lawn and garden care are like 137 at the moment. Like, wild money. As one of our new business coaches, Pia, would say, silly money. And it's a great stat. And it really does. It's that information that can help people to look at this through a different perspective. All fear is that comfort zone thing. We get comfortable where we are. We do the things that feel safe and familiar and warm and wrap us up in this rug of security where we don't have to feel uncomfortable or threatened by anything in our world. But if you stay in your comfort zone in life, there is no growth in there. You never do the scary thing. You never take on that job that you didn't think that you were able to take on. I mean, heck, if I never stepped out of my comfort zone, I wouldn't be sitting here. The day that I asked you and Darren to step into the role of CEO, and you guys just looked at each other and were like, yeah, okay, let's look at a transition plan. I walked out of that office absolutely terrified, thinking, what have I just done? I got in my car and I was like, what have I just done? I don't know what I'm doing. What have I just done? But it takes you to some crazy, amazing places when you are prepared to step outside your comfort zone. All right, so let's help people step outside of their comfort zone. Let's do like a quick burst. I'm going to ask you like 5 questions, like what is our subscription model? What is our ASAP? What is the information process? And I want you to give answers in like 2 minutes or less. And I want this to be like quick fire. Anybody who is heading down a path in life that either may disappear or it's not serving them and they're wondering whether this could be an option, I want the next couple of minutes to be an overview to help them combat the fear of lack of information. Are we ready?
Yep, far away. And I haven't got these questions. This is unprepared.
No, I haven't even thought about these questions. But the first one is, in 2 minutes or less, tell me if somebody makes an inquiry, what happens? Somebody submits an inquiry about joining James, what happens next?
Either myself or Bella from our head office will ring you and just have a discussion to see where you're at, whether we possibly could be a fit for one another. And then from that, if we both feel comfortable to go further, we just make a meeting where we can talk face-to-face like this right now, and we'll take you through an information session that simply really explains in detail how everything works and obviously answers any questions that you have. So there's no pressure, you're not signing anything. It's just all about getting to know information.
Yeah. And just so people have an idea about how no pressure this is, talk us through the time frame, right? This isn't something that all happens in like a week of your life, right? This is over a period of time that we're helping you with enough information to make the right decision.
Yeah. So it generally takes 2 months to go through, I would say no less than 6 weeks, because in Australia, the government has legislated a total of 4 weeks of cooling off. So from the time you get a franchise agreement to the time you can start your training, you have to have at least 4 weeks cooling off, which is great. Gives you plenty of time, no pressure. However, before we send you a franchise agreement, you need to know this is what you want to be doing, and we need to make sure we're prepared to offer you a business. So generally, there's a couple of weeks before that of you getting to meet other business owners, of you going through these meetings with us, finding out information. So I find 6 to 8 weeks it generally takes.
Cool. And we take our responsibility to make sure that we are only offering a business to people that we genuinely think could make it work. We take our responsibility really seriously in that regard. What are the sorts of things that we're looking at for somebody? And what are the sorts of things that would knock someone out of that process? I.e., we would say to them, hey, look, this is not the right time for you. This is not the right thing for us to offer you a business. What does that process look like?
Yep. I guess first and foremost, you've got to have a clean police check. So because we're working with naturally around Australia, thousands and thousands of our clients are people who are vulnerable or, elderly disabled. So you have to have a clean police check. You've got to have the right sort of attitude. Attitude is just so important. You've got to want to help people. I find some of our best franchisees are people who genuinely care about the people they're working with, their customers. The other big thing that we take really importantly, and we've talked about this in some previous episodes, is finances, your finances. We get you to complete the personal budget. We get you to complete an assets and liabilities, and we have a tool that I'll go through with you to to look at, we're all about minimizing the risk. We know if people work with us on our system, how long it takes to make sure you're successful financially, that you can cover, break even, cover all your bills and live. So we'll work that out with you. And, in some cases, if people haven't got enough cash reserves or the ability to survive for enough weeks, if it's a tough start, we'll work with them on a savings plan. It's not a no. It's a no. It's not the right time for you and your family. We don't want to put you in too difficult of a position. Usually it takes off very quickly, and we'll talk about that, I think, in our next episode. But if it is a tough start, we want to make sure that you can weather the storm before it does take off. And so, that's also a big one. I find for pretty much everyone that starts this information process just gets more and more excited about joining. And that financial one can be a little bit of because some people don't have any savings. And, well, it's not the right time to start because you're going to have 2 weeks of training where you're not earning any money. You're then going to start your business and then take off. So, you've got to make sure you've got a little bit behind you to take you through those. Sorry, that was more than 2 minutes.
That's okay. But our focus in that information process is lots of information so that you feel empowered that you're making the right decision. You get lots of time. There is no pressure associated with this process, partly because the government have implemented regulation that is very much in favour of the person making the inquiry to help ensure that we don't rush the process. But also we have our own checks and balances to make sure that A, we're not rushing the process, B, we're making sure that we genuinely think that this model, our model, would work for that individual. And we're not going to offer somebody a business who we don't think it's the right time or they couldn't make it work. We do our very best to try and get to know you as well as we possibly can in that process. And then we're only offering people a business who we really think that we are, we are really confident that we can help you make a successful business. So that's our information process. Talk me through onboarding and talk me through how we do this differently to everybody else that does onboarding. That period of time between signing and starting your training. What happens in there for us?
Yeah. So I think it's over 120 things now that we have on our onboarding checklist that myself and our team, the rest of our team do for you to get your business to a point so you can have what we call an accelerated start. And I think there is another episode on accelerated startup program, but we're also going to dig into the results of that in our next episode. What's that look like over this financial year for all the people that have started with us in numbers? So tune in for the next episode. But our onboarding process is a big part of that because in the industry, franchising, because of the month cooling off period, you have every right, and you still obviously do in James, every right to pull out at any time before starting. So in most other companies, I think probably all other companies, nothing really happens until the end of that cooling off period, then they start. And what we observed is there's so many different things, over 120 things that we need to set up, that when we start setting those things up after the cooling off period, there's like a lag phase of like a month before the income starts coming in because, the person who's just started their business is so busy getting all this stuff set up. We're so busy making sure everything's right. And then everything starts and we're sort of a month, 2 months down the track before the income starts coming in. And the new starter's like, Justin, I've got to go, I've got no more money. I've got to go back to my job or whatever.
Yeah.
And so what we do that's different to all the others is I don't think we've ever had – there might have been one person in history that I can remember that's pulled out of
I think
in
one.
that process.
Yeah, I think just one. Yep.
I think it was a guy in WA pulled out.
Yeah.
Yep. In the cooling off period. So now we spend a lot more time making sure people are right for us and that this is right for them. So people are really invested. So what we do is we start the onboarding process well before the cooling off. As soon as you've signed your agreement, everything starts happening so that when you come back from training, and what's so exciting and talking to so many of our new starters this week, during their training, they're working with their business coaches, doing quotes and booking in jobs, and they come back and they're just bang. Like Janelle, I think we were talking about earlier on the week, this was her first week. She's just trying to organise and book her second week because her first week's already full.
Yeah.
You know, it's that sort of stuff that we're causing to happen through this onboarding accelerated startup process.
Yeah.
And it's just been a game changer.
It has actually been a total game changer, hasn't it? Essentially what we do is we bring all the boring admins, business setup tasks forward, and we get them all out of the way before we even start you with your training, right? So you've done your ABN registration, your GST, you've got insurance, you've got your business name, you've sorted out your Google. Like, there are over 120 things that we do alone, and then there's another like 10 or so things that we can't do that the business owner's got to do, that we guide them through. We get all of that stuff, bank account set up, all of that stuff squared away before you step foot into the training room. And in that same period, we start to teach you how to market your business. We start to teach you how to talk to friends and family, get yourself training jobs, talk to neighbours, post to your local Facebook groups, launching your business. And it just starts to get those wheels of momentum happening. Then you get into your training and you go through, we've got 2 weeks worth of training. You do your business management training and then your practical training, both face-to-face, and that happens across 2 weeks. And what it really does mean is that once you've finished your training, you're ready to go. There is nothing else to do. There's no other admin taking your attention or distracting you. You can literally get out there, start marketing, start doing quotes, start winning work, and start earning an income from week one. And so many, at least half of the business owners we've started in the current financial year have earned an income in week one, which is wild. We've never seen that happen before, and we certainly weren't seeing it happen before we implemented this brought forward onboarding process. That's onboarding. What happens then? You go through your training, and I think we've got some other videos on that, so we won't really dive into training, but just talk me through in a couple of minutes. Give me a summary of what the Accelerated Startup Program is and what its goals are.
The goals are to accelerate how quickly you can be earning money.
Yeah.
Right. Because I think for all of us, when we first start our business, it's Justin, I need money coming in quick. You know, I've got a mortgage, I've got family, I've got commitments. We all do. And so the key that, you know, you and I particularly observed is in our old model, which worked if people use it, it's still the same system, right? It was just that delay.
Yeah.
And so the Accelerated Startup Program is just bringing it all forward. So exactly as you said, when you come back from training, you're into jobs, you're into quotes. Yeah. You're straight out there doing, when you're not doing those things, you're becoming what I love Ian, one of our business coaches, calls locally famous. Your goal in your business is to become locally famous.
Yeah.
And we have 51 different things that we teach you in your training that you can be doing when you're not doing jobs, when you're not, you know, doing quotes, you're out there becoming locally famous. And
which is marketing, so that people in your local area know about your business and they're ringing your phone and inquiring. That's what we want to happen. Yeah.
Like I just caught up with lovely couple, Luke and Laura. I just recorded an episode that'll be on here on the Real Franchise shortly. So jump on, watch that episode. But just to show people the power of this Accelerated Startup Program, he came back, he was someone that just implemented what he learned immediately. Got home, week one of his business, finished his training. He had 12 quotes booked to do, 12 quotes. And he won all 12 of them, he said last night, landed them all.
What?
And I think 10 of them became regular customers, right? So bang, he's off and running. And as a lawn and garden business,
figures look so good.
Yeah. And to put it in perspective for people listening, you know, if you want to be earning a really good income in a lawn and garden business as a sole operator, you're probably going to need 70 to 80 regular customers.
Yeah.
Right? He picked up 10 in his first week.
Oh, that's incredible. So Accelerated Startup Program is definitely designed to get you started faster, get you earning money faster, take that pressure off and the fear of having made the wrong decision. We want to try and remove all of that pretty quickly and get you going. The last thing I want you to summarize in 2 minutes or less is our subscription model, because that, just like our onboarding process, just like our Accelerated Startup Program, our subscription model was a game changer. We launched this about 3.5 years ago now, and still to this day, we are the only business network, franchise network in the world, to our knowledge, offering this model. So talk me through what our accelerated startup program. Talk me through what our subscription model is.
So the subscription model, one of the big fears that stops most of us from taking that step into buying a business is money. You know, I looked at buying a coffee club franchise. It was started at $750,000. You know, if you want to do a lawn and garden business, do your research. Most of them, by the time you get your gear, are $40,000 to $60,000 to get a start. And you and I both saw that was just stopping so many people. And I think you initially came to Darren and I with this idea. And I'll admit, Darren and I laughed when you first floated this concept of a subscription model. Yeah, but you know what? You're going to give away this business? We're going to spend all this money setting people up? Yeah, that's what we do.
Yeah, we are.
So we over 18 months, we put together this business model, which is a world first, like you said, and quite simply and shortly, you pay $1,000 before you start, once you're approved, and we then go and spend a lot, 15,000. I think it's over 15,000 setting people up. We provide everything, all the training, all the support. Most of that money, a lot of that money is spent on advertising, which helps with the accelerated start. And then you can just like a subscription with Netflix or KO or whatever, you can choose between either $125 a week or $100 a week. So the $125 a week subscription, we provide all the equipment, except for a trailer in the lawn and garden business. If you already have all the equipment, you can take the $100 a week option. And bang, you then have your business, the franchise, the support, you know, all the computer systems, the business coach to walk the journey with you, the awesome marketing team marketing with you, you know, and to give people some numbers. I think you were sharing with me recently, on average for our new starters, that campaign is generating between 5 and 15, 20 leads a week. Is that right?
Yeah, no, our new starters at the moment are seeing closer to sort of 8 to 12 leads per week. Some of our campaigns even more than that. So, yeah,
yes.
Combine that with the efforts that we go to teach our business owners what they can do for free on the ground. We are generating a really healthy volume of leads for our business owners when they start.
Yep. And that gives people an accelerated start.
It does. It does indeed. That subscription model really, it just makes the whole thing a whole heap more financially accessible to everyday people, because not everybody has $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 in their back pocket to buy a business. And also not everybody, even if they do, not everybody wants to put all of that on the table up front at once and take the big risk that franchising can be perceived to be. And buy a business. So the subscription model changes the game, and it allows you to pay for your business as you build it, which I love that we do that. It's us putting our money where our mouth is, because if we can't get you started fast, we lose out an awful lot over that. So I think that it really does just add to the level of integrity with which we have to go about doing what we do, because it's our neck on the chopping block as well. So I think that's an important part of our model, and I'm really proud that that's how we operate.
Yep. I have so many people, when they make that initial call, go, well, what's the catch? This just sounds like a scam. It's too good to be true. And it's like, no, there's talk to our business owners. Everybody's phone number's on the website. Everyone has their own webpage. You can jump on there right now and call anyone. It's not a scam. It's us putting our money where our mouth is.
Mm-hmm.
We love this business because it's all about supporting people to achieve.
Yeah.
And we only do well as a company if our business owners do well.
Yeah. There's an ongoing perception in franchising that it's a them and an us scenario. You know, the franchisees are like, you know, against head office, and head office is like, oh, pesky franchisees. And in our network, that is not how we operate. We work in partnership with our business owners. It is a journey that we walk together. And if we are to be successful at head office as the national company, so that we can have a sustainable network and help many more people start their businesses, we must ensure our business owners are successful. And the only way to do that is walk side by side and help them achieve their goals. And I just think that, you know, adding in the subscription model to our business model was the most powerful statement that we could send to the marketplace about our belief in the franchising system, but also our belief in our system. And saying franchising plays a really important role in helping people to establish businesses in Australia. And we take our role in that really seriously, and we want to make that accessible to people. Our subscription model also, just really quickly, isn't a light version of what you get if you bought a business up front. So, I think some people might kind of think, subscription, it's only $125 a week and they pay for all my equipment and training and everything. Like, exactly like you said, like, what's the catch? If I buy a business with a competing network, am I getting everything? And maybe they're not giving me everything. Same, except frankly, I'd argue a whole heap more over here, guys, because onboarding process, accelerated startup, systems and processes that work. And I think this is a good place to leave this video, because what I want to dive into in the next video is, what are the results that we're getting? It's all well and good for you and I to sit here and wax lyrical about our system and how great it is. I think it's actually time we shared some numbers. So if it's okay with you, let's wrap the video here. And in our next video, join along, guys. There will be, the videos will be going up at the same time, more or less. So we're not saying, you got to wait a whole week, wait for part 2. Don't we all hate that when people do that? Go to part 2. There is a part 2, but it'll be going up at the same time. There will be a video. If you're watching this, there will already be this video up there in our YouTube channel, and it will be us sharing the results in numbers of our new business owners in the network in the last 6 months. So I hope that's enough interest for you to join us in the next episode of The Real Franchise.